Hello. I thought I was going to do a happy-go-lucky vlog today, but I'm not. Today I'm going to talk about the subject matter, which is white women. So, to start again, hello, this is One Black British Woman's Voice, and today I want to talk about the interchangeable subject, which is white women, white supremacy, and feminism. I am pro-woman, but I've never described myself as a feminist because that word is purely for the benefit of white women. At no time in my life have I intertwined the struggles of being a black woman with the so-called struggles of being a white woman. The two issues are like oil and water, so they can't be confused, and they certainly can't be mixed. To provide one of my many personal experiences of white women, a few years ago I was on a Central Line train and I was called a nigger by a white woman, and when I responded, they came to her aid three white fragrant women who told me that my response to being called nigger was disproportionate to the racial slur that had just been spat at me. So that's just a microcosm or a micro shot of what white women in Britain in particular are about. Now, for those of you that already think that this vlog is pointless and believe that white women should be viewed through a lenient lens because they're perceived to be subject to just as much harsh discrimination and treatment from their white male counterparts as ethnic minorities are, then this video is not for you. You're probably in a beautiful interracial relationship, or you're the one black friend out of a group of whites, so your house mentality will be too firmly entrenched to view this vlog through an objective telescope. But before you switch off, tell me, has your white partner ever called you a black bastard in an argument? I mean, I know it happens because I've witnessed it. Have your white friends ever casually made racist jokes in front of you that you've laughed off? Did you think that the blackamoor brooch that the Princess of Kent wore to her first meeting with the biracial Meghan Markle, Princess in Waiting, was appropriate? Then, if you've answered yes or yes to some or those questions, then maybe just stick around and listen to this perspective of mine, give your thoughts and views on it. I mean, I'd be really interested to see how you would justify any of that. But coming back to the general vicinity of this vlog, here are some kick-off questions in general. Where do you think white males seed and grow their delusions of superiority? Who's planted that belief and nurtured it until it's blossomed into its sickening fruit? To answer both questions, it's instilled within them from birth to adulthood by the people that sired and reared them, their mothers. So this mistaken assumption that white women are separate to the racist ideologies of the white males they ally is a puzzlement to me. I have a theory that this trickery has in some part something to do with the schools teaching in their history classes the struggles of white women obtaining rights during the suffragette movement. But repeatedly presenting white women as living under the cosh of white men has insidiously contributed to cultivating the image of white women being separate to the same white men who have formed, ruled and perpetuated racism. This fake shroud of vulnerability wrapped around the shoulders of white women has protected them from the watchful eye of many racism spotters. But presently and historically, it's clear that white women were complicit in the protecting and the promoting of white supremacy. One example I can think of straight away would be the murder of the 14-year-old black boy by the name of Emmett Till. About 70 years ago, a boy called Emmett Till was accused by a white woman of being wolf whistled at by him. And based on this non-evidence accusation alone, the white woman's husband and four of his friends went on a search for Emmett, and when they found him, they piled him in the back of a truck, took him to a secluded spot, and beat him until he died. They then drove his body to a river, dumped his body into it, and went home to celebrate the murder of the child. Now, when the police obligatorily arrested these men and they were put in trial for it, an all-white jury found them not guilty, of course. Now, all this happened because a white woman went home and claimed to her husband that a 14-year-old black boy had wolf whistled at her in a shop. So I wonder, how is it that white female subjugation and feminism has managed to align itself equally with the struggle for black people to gain even basic human rights? They're not in the same tier. Somehow, white females have artfully adorned feminism as an invisibility cloak with which to appear separate to the racism that their white sons, brothers, husbands and friends are so expert at wielding. Did you know that historically, when a lynching has occurred, it has been at the behest of a white woman's false accusation? Google an essay called Lynching to Protect a White Woman. It's a fascinating read documenting the facts revolving lynching and what 95% of these lynchings were for: women crying rape. And for the angry white men watching this, please don't post your fake statistics about black men raping white women and perversely claiming that white men don't rape black women. We all know that you spent 350 years of slavery raping nothing but black women, and that didn't just stop during the advent of the abolition of slavery. A more recent example would be the countless stories written even by the white supremacist media about white women falsely accusing black men of some sort of artificial crime. In 2016, a disheveled white woman called Brianna Harmon ran into a packed church and screamed that she had just escaped the clutches of 3 black men that had kidnapped her, held her in captivity, and raped her over a course of a 3-day period. It came to light with irrefutable evidence that she had lied about the entire thing, namely that the 3 black men that she said did it didn't even exist. And even the police issued a response saying that she could have caused great harm to the black community. This is why I've never ascribed to a false solidarity with white women or feminism. Because it's reckless. It recklessly ignores the fact that white women may argue with white men about issues of equality, but they sit comfortably on the white supremacist wagon that drives them through life. A good indicator of a white supremacist feminist female is the quickness with which they used to hijack a discourse regarding race with their own wailing about how the discourse shouldn't be about race, but about womanhood and humanity. The ease with which white women and white feminists used to grasp the limelight to refocus it upon them is astonishing, but it's not surprising. Their fight isn't our fight. What white men do to white women shouldn't be on any black person's radar when it comes to the fight for black equality and fair treatment, because regardless of their sufferance under white male dominion, they're still taken care of. They still have access to jobs, education, healthcare, and good housing, which is withheld from black people. White women make up a higher percentage of CEO positions, admin positions, student positions, home ownership positions than anyone non-white. Statistically, there's a word again, statistically, they consistently make up something like 40 to 60% of these advantages. And of course, you have the film industry that continues to magnify them as some sort of treasure and a property that every man should aspire to possess and every woman should want to be. So yes, they're taken care of. And as my examples have shown, are adept at using their white card to persecute, harass, and subjugate black people to just as many evils as their white male bed partners. Think also, whilst white women were fighting for the rights to vote, they weren't fighting for black women to vote. Marie Stopes, a white feminist whom history has cited as or credited as a great woman's right campaigner, was a bloody eugenist. So with the same breath that she used to champion women's rights and birth control, she was also declaring that only the white race should be allowed to procreate and that black women, Native Americans and Aborigines should be sterilized. And this is a woman who is credited as a feminist. Don't get this vlog wrong, I'm not anti-white women. This vlog isn't about maligning white women. I mean, I'm especially flattered by the need to look like black women with their lip injections and dark tans and body implants. But as a black person, I'm not foolish. From my experience in history, I'd be a bloody idiot to think that white women, white supremacy and feminism weren't intimately linked. And that I, as a black woman, would be sensible to monitor it at all costs. Yay, sisters. Anyway, as always, post your comments below with your thoughts. It'd be interesting to hear from white females on this subject in particular, but be responsible, be respectful, because you're in my house now. But in the meantime, happy holidays. This is One Black British Woman's Voice, and I'm out.